All right, welcome back. Let's Do Video viewers. I'm here again with Sam Kennedy. Sam, great to see you from Crestron. And I think we have something new. Sam, what do you got for us?
Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me back here. It's a big day here at Crestron as we're launching a set of new optical zoom cameras. So we are launching 4 new cameras. 2 cameras called the P12 and the P20. So the P stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. So these are those generic pan, tilt, and zoom cameras. Primarily, Crestron sells these pan, tilt, and zoom cameras, optical zoom pan, tilt, and zoom cameras in with our Automate VX multiple camera environment in our solution. But of course, customers that want just a pan, tilt, and zoom camera, of course, they're good for that as well. But again, like primarily, we see them positioned and used with Automate VX. So there's the P12, P20. So P standing for the pan, tilt, and zoom. 12 and the 20 standing for the optical zoom time. So 12 times zoom, 20 times zoom. So therefore, again, you could be 50 feet away. You could be 25 meters away, and it's going to be a very high quality experience. So we announced the P12, P20. We've also announced the other 2 cameras are the I12 and the I20. Now, in this case, the I standing for intelligence. So there is a built-in intelligence reference camera. I'll just show you I have one of the cameras right here. There's a little reference camera there. That's seeing what's going on in the room, and then it takes the optical zoom camera and does group framing, camera tracking. And so the I12, it will do group framing. It will do basic presenter tracking. We have a new feature that we're going to show everyone around multiple camera tracking. So again, the I is 12. I12 is a 12 times optical zoom camera. The 20 times zoom, again, this is the one that can give really great distances where we see it in large conference rooms, classrooms, auditoriums. This can do group tracking, presenter tracking, group tracking. I mean, we can even add some new capabilities around preset zones so that if someone is actually following a person around, if I want to, instead of just continually following someone around, I can set up a specific zone that the camera will lock into that. So let's say I go to the whiteboard. You don't want the camera constantly kind of moving back and forth when you're at the whiteboard.
It gets
you
distracting.
want more of a steady shot. It gets really distracting. And so the idea is we can set up these preset zones, and that's available on the I20. So again, 4 new cameras, P12, P20, I12, I20.
Now, that's perfect because people are coming to you. We're still outfitting our rooms. We've kind of figured out the back to the office, the hybrid, the new normal. But it's the small rooms are easy or easier. The big rooms are hard, and I think what people are learning is digital zoom only does so much. There's a reason we've had these optical cameras for so long. When you zoom in, especially the distances you were talking about, the medium rooms, the big rooms, people get a little pixelated, a little blurry if you're getting people at the far end. So if I'm understanding, we have a medium room and a big room version with intelligence and without intelligence.
That's correct. And one of the things that I found is that sorry, there's my boss calling me. One of the things that I found is that the definition for customers around what is the definition of a medium room and a large room, size differences is just kind of all over the place from a customer perspective. And so what's a definition of a medium room for some customers and what is maybe the definition of a large in others. And so, the reality is that this quality of experience that an optical zoom camera can provide is really critical, right? It really ups the game from that quality level. And so we're seeing very much a renewed interest in optical zoom cameras because, like you said, the digital cameras, they do a really nice job in smaller spaces, but the larger you go, the quality just starts to drop off. I mean, it's just physics at this point. And so that we're seeing a much greater demand for an overall experience. And this is why optical zoom really is making, I think, a resurgence and why we're investing pretty heavily here.
Yeah, it's something I think I need here at Let's Do Video. I need to be talking more about. I don't think people realize, people realize there's a difference between optical and digital, but I think they think, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. Everything's good. No, there's a difference, and it does matter for your uses. Now, well, first of all, I want to say I like the form factor. We should talk about a minute about the fact
Yeah.
that people care about what their gear looks like. We want something that looks nice in our meeting spaces, and every space is now a meeting space. So we can't.
Yeah, let me
not
talk a
mention
few
that they
things.
look
Let me talk
nice.
some updates, right? So now that you understand the portfolio, right, the four cameras, let's talk about a couple of key reasons as to why we went and built cameras. Now, I think historically, Crestron wasn't really viewed as a camera manufacturer, but about 2 years ago, we made an acquisition of a company called One Beyond, and what One Beyond gave us was a portfolio of optical zoom cameras, along with our multi-camera tracking solution called Automate VX. That's team certified, that gets us all those capabilities. But we thought it was time to refresh the portfolio, come out with a new lineup of cameras, and these cameras will ultimately replace the existing set of cameras. So this is going to be a completely refreshed line, all happening at the same time. As we look at the hardware, there's a couple of key things, right? Number one is with new hardware, there's a new processor inside that's going to give us better AI capabilities, where in the past with the existing cameras, we're just tracking to a face. Now we're tracking to a whole body. It's an updated lens, so it's going to be better quality overall. It's also going to be much better in low light environments. We've updated the UI, the inputs and outputs. This is kind of a big deal for, I know, a lot of our integrators.
I have something we could see it a little bit better here.
Ooh, even better. Ooh, look at you.
This
You are
ruins
good.
the
Yeah.
immersion effect. This ruins the magic.
Yeah,
I want people to see this.
Like we planned it. So again, lots of inputs and outputs here. So the camera does support HDMI, SDI, NDI, and in fact, now what we've added is USB. So you can see that little USB port there. Now the camera can be powered with PoE, because now I talked to a lot of customers that power consumption is a really big deal. So the fact that we're able to power these over PoE, just plain PoE, we think is a really big deal.
It is.
It is. And all four of those inputs, all the inputs and outputs, are live simultaneously. So again, I think for the majority of customers, they're going to go USB, plug it into their Teams room, their Zoom room, and call it a day. But for those integrators, those customers that are a lot more creative, have some different use cases where they need multiple inputs and outputs, the fact that they're all live, we think, is really valuable. But the last point I'll make is, you talked about refreshed ID. I think that is a big deal. The rooms that we're selling Automate VX, especially into, some of the most important conference rooms in the world, the very large boardrooms, the large auditoriums, the very strategic rooms where the camera aesthetics actually matter. And so we do think this is a much more modern look and feel from an hardware ID perspective. We have a new camera mount that makes it very clean to install these. It hides the cables away. We've added this little LED light bars. It's a little hard. Let me make sure everyone can see it. So there's this new LED light bar here. So this is green when I'm in a call. It goes red if I'm muted, or if the camera spins around and it goes to sleep, the camera will be red. So that just drives those end user experiences. So to your point around the experience, there's a lot that went into what is within these cameras, as far as the technology and the look and feel.
Yeah, it's coming from a line of well-known quality cameras. It's funny. Usually, I would recommend Crestron's just a great name. I know you made this great acquisition. Just call them Crestron cameras, but you can't. People say One Beyond cameras are good. I love my One Beyond cameras. I've had no problems with my One Beyond cameras. You'd be crazy to get rid of the name now. So,
and that's you hit it right on the head. It was definitely some discussions early on as to what are we going to call these names, and what should we do with the One Beyond name. And that's really what bubbled up, was that One Beyond has a good brand, and the fact that once Crestron acquired them, it really escalated their name and we only hear real positives. And it's like any product. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that will say things, but we hear it just overwhelming positive around the brand, and so therefore we thought it made sense to just rename or name this new portfolio with the One Beyond, and then it's the One Beyond I-20 I-20, the One Beyond P12. So it gives Crestron brand around our cameras a brand within itself.
Yep, it's perfect. And I don't want to gloss over something I just saw when we were looking at the back of it. The USB, that's for Teams rooms and Zoom rooms here, right? This is because that's what everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people, they want their Zoom rooms, they want their team rooms, and I think you need, or at least it's easier if we can get in there through USB. Is that what that's
correct?
About?
Yeah. Otherwise, in the previous generation, we had to use an adapter, and adapters, while they're great for what they do, it brings another point of failure. It's another thing that when we try and certify, it's just another thing. So now that we're bringing native USB to the cameras themselves, that should make Microsoft and Zoom much happier. To be clear, we are in certification right now with Microsoft and Zoom, so we are going through that process of testing these cameras, and we do expect that to go relatively smoothly. And so it should be certification should happen shortly, and once it happens, obviously we'll be screaming that pretty loud.
Oh yeah, that is not an easy process, but you've been down that road before.
We have.
I
lots
want to
of
clarify something for our viewers. I think they understand. Okay, so we have options of different optical zooms. If I want a medium room or a big room, or a big room or a bigger room, but there's also an option with the intelligence inside or without the intelligence inside. And
Correct.
I want to make it clear that the reason we have the option for without the intelligence is because we have all these other products that it connects to that provide that. So should we talk a little bit about
Sure.
those other products?
Yeah, part of the reason for of announcing a whole new portfolio of pan tilt and zoom cameras, there is a market and there is a certain set of customers that don't want intelligent cameras. They want manual pan tilt and zoom. I know that seems a little counterintuitive to the way the direction of the market's going, but there really is a set of customers that are looking for those style of cameras. And even Microsoft and Zoom, as they're starting to bring some cloud-based some of their intelligence built from the cloud, they don't necessarily want all the intelligence built in the camera. So there is some market for just standalone cameras as it is. Now, on the other side of that, as you mentioned, Crestron, we have that solution that came along. The other piece, not only did we acquire cameras from One Beyond, but we acquired that multiple camera solution called Automate VX. Again, it is the only multi-camera around the room, that outside-in view of multiple cameras that is Microsoft Teams certified. So now what happens in those scenarios, in those types of rooms where I'm having this multiple camera environment and based on where I'm speaking and where I'm looking, it's going to switch to whatever camera there. The intelligence moves from the cameras themselves to the Automate VX. So the Automate VX is the director or the producer of that meeting of what's going to happen from a video perspective. So there's really no reason to have the intelligence built into the cameras themselves. The intelligence moves from the cameras to the Automate VX. Now, a couple things to talk about there. First off, part of the reason you want the pan tilt and zoom cameras over the intelligent cameras saves you a little bit of money, right? So therefore, I don't need as much technology in the camera itself. So therefore, I can lower the cost of the pan tilt and zoom cameras, which makes it slightly more affordable, right? We're talking
That makes sense.
In a very generic room. When we talk about Automate VX, it could be anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras, all the way up to 12. I mean, we see all sorts of very complex deployments in rooms that people are looking for something complicated, like a divisible room, for instance, right? Where I have it's 3 rooms on Monday, and then
Right.
when everyone's in the office on Wednesday, it's 1 big room. Oh, that's a great prime use case for Automate VX. And so we have those pan tilt and zoom, like I said, primarily because the intelligence sits in Automate VX. Now, I can't help myself to also say we've announced and we're just about to release some AI capabilities in the Automate VX as well. So you're going to get that intelligence, you're going to get the AI intelligence, but it's all going to come into the Automate VX. So I have the pan tilt and zoom primarily for Automate VX rooms. They pair with the Automate VX. Yeah, not solely. They don't have to. I'm just saying those are general. And then for those I-series cameras, in general, you're going to see those go along with just a standard Microsoft Teams room or Zoom room, typically a Crestron Flex RUC solution.
Yeah, that leads me, actually, you're going where I was heading to the flip side of the question. So now we've explained why we want the version without the brains, because we have all these other solutions that have it. So if that's a great way to do things, well, why do we need the cameras that do have the intelligence? So let's give a use case for that.
Yeah, again, it's what a room. So think of smaller room, medium-sized rooms where I don't need 12 cameras. I don't need all of the complexity. I just have a more general room that I want some level of capabilities. I have, again, the i12 has this little reference camera. So if you're the only one that's in the room, the camera's going to frame you. I walk to the other side of the table, the camera's going to frame the two of us. So there is some level of intelligence built into the i12, therefore i12, i20,
Yep.
And it does provide that level of experience. Now, on top of that, we're adding some really amazing innovations into these cameras. I mentioned a little earlier the i20, when it's doing the presenter tracking, that means it's following someone in a particular zone, and there were some presets on that. Some really great innovations. I would definitely encourage anybody watching this to talk to your Crestron sales rep or any of our partners to get a little bit more details, because there are some really great innovations. But I think one we wanted to demo to everyone today is another innovation that we've added, and this is with two i12 cameras. Now let's talk through the use case here. I find this is this ubiquitous use case where let's say it's a medium or a large size room, potentially even a small room, where there's the monitors on the wall, on one wall, with the cameras over the monitor or under the monitor, either way. And then someone walks in the room and goes to present to the people locally, goes and stands in front of the monitor. Everybody on the video sees their backside. But people in the room, I'm presenting to everyone in the room. It could be a room full of people, and I want you all to, I'm going to stand up and present to all of you on whatever. But everyone on the far end, it's this really horrible experience.
Yeah.
So what we've announced and what we'll begin shipping here with these cameras is this new multi-camera switching experience. So what we're able to do is put in the two cameras. Of course, I'm going to have that group framer that's going to sit above or below the monitor. That's going to get everybody group framing. But then we can set another camera as a tracker. And so what that happens is there's other cameras. As soon as someone walks into the tracking zone, these two cameras are going to be intelligent enough to communicate to each other. And it's going to say, okay, automatically switch over to that other camera. And so if I walk into a podium, I walk into a whiteboard, I walk into a presenting zone, I walk in front of the monitors where everyone's going to see my backside, it's going to automatically switch. So again, I think you have a video queued up. Maybe we should play it. I think it'll make sense to all the viewers.
And for our viewers, to summarize what Sam said, Crestron has finally eliminated the butt cam after all these years. I can't believe
I was trying not to say that.
Those are my words, not Sam's.
Hi, today we're going to talk to you about the i12 cameras and the ability to add two cameras into your room to create an automatic switching between them both. Not every room is everybody just sitting around the table. Sometimes you need a zone for a presenter in the front of the space.
So what we're going to be showing you right now is how to switch between one i12, and we have one up at the front of the room right now that's set up as a group framing camera, and another i12 that's set as a presenter tracker in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and enter our presentation zone. And what you'll notice is as soon as I get into this zone here, it's going to automatically, using that built-in visual AI, switch to the camera in the back that's set as that presenter tracking camera. Now I can move around this space and it will continue to follow me as I'm in the presentation zone. And to switch back to that camera up at the front, all I need to do is sit back down and exit the presenter zone.
Now, as Kara exits the presenter zone, the camera is going to go back into the group framing mode, so you're going to get to see a frame of the entire table. This allows a much better experience for the far-end participant.
So again, hopefully that video made a lot of sense, right? And one of the things that you'll notice is there was no button presses for any of that, right? We talk under this concept internally and with our customers and partners around the click to join, right? Or one button to push, or whatever you want to call it, right? There's those rooms. I just want to press my join my meeting. That's it. The rest of the room should automatically just follow whatever I'm doing in the room without me having to press and get interact with anything else. And so that's really a big powerful thing that Crestron historically we've been really good at, things like control and automation, and we're really doubling down on those types of experiences. And that's one of the capabilities that you're seeing here with the camera. So it's just one of the innovations that we're driving with these new cameras, and we're thrilled with just the back to driving innovations here at Crestron.
Yeah, I want to make a point about that. I don't want people to see that demo and say, okay, that's cool, I get it now. No, you really don't, because I spent a lot of time with Sam and he showed me a bunch of videos. These things are so flexible. There's so many different use cases, so many different problems it's able to solve because of the intelligence. We had to pick one to show you and pick that one because it's so relatable. But there's a lot of other things that are just like that video. That is a sample of the kind of things. That's not the one thing. But as for that example, oh my God, I could have done that for you 5 years ago. I would have had to you would have had to pay me to sit in the room. You don't want me sitting in your meeting rooms. I'm not part of your meeting. I would have needed 2 remote controls and a mixer in the middle. And it would have been a lot of timed magic. I would have had to practice and rehearse the button presses on the remote controls that entire time. And there were zero. I had to press a button to start the video. That's more work than they had to do to do all that direction and camera changing. That's really amazing.
It's pretty amazing. It's really amazing how we're driving. It's in line with where users are today. They want to press a button. They just want to be in their meeting and they want to go, right? And that's the level of experience, I think, where they want a really high quality experience, but they just want to press that one button and go. Again, we can do the same thing for those very advanced large rooms where I have multiple cameras and all that. But here you have, and just to be clear, how that was configured, you had those 2 rooms. They were just those 2 cameras in that same room. They're just connected over the switch. So there's no extra boxes needed for any of that. So the 2 cameras are paired over the network and that single USB connection out into my UC device. So it really is very simplified, very cost effective. So I do expect to see customers deploying that in smallish rooms and definitely media. I think it's a perfect first solution for medium-sized rooms and for some of those larger rooms where you don't need 6, 7 cameras, which I think is a very large use case. We have very high expectations for where this is going to get deployed. Yeah,
and that's an important point that I didn't get it at first. You had to explain it to me, and I want to make sure that our viewers get it. And it answers my question about before, but why do we need the cameras with the brains if I can have external brains? You have all these other wonderful systems that work with them. That demo we saw, when I first saw it, I'm like, I think I've seen similar things. The 2 cameras are networked to some sort of central processor that's doing the direction software. And Sam was like, no, the cameras are just talking to each other. There's no software telling the cameras what to do. You're like, David, I've been telling you, these cameras are smart. They know what to do. They can talk to each. And I've seen smart cameras before, but cameras that are smart enough to talk to each other and switch off, hand off. I'm going to capture now. You're going to capture now. Yeah, I think this is something new and something cool. So that's why I'm excited about these. We talk about smart cameras for a year. These are really smart cameras, and that demo really kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it just showed like what's next, right? It's just the innovation engine is hot, and we're at the forefront, and we're leapfrogging ourselves with a lot of these technologies, and it's very, 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 very exciting to be a part of.
Well, I think this is probably a first peek or an early peek for a lot of reviewers. Where can they go to learn more, and where are we going to be showing this?
Again, we are announcing the camera. We announced the cameras in January. They will begin shipping. They're all orderable, all shipping in within February, maybe early March. I think the i12 with the P12, P20, i20 all ship in February. The i12 will ship in March. The mounts ship in March. We'll have some new kits that we'll be able to bundle with the new camera. So if you want the full complete solution, a full Teams room, a full Zoom room, you want to bundle in the cameras, you'll absolutely be able to do that. As I said, we're in certification right now. So we do expect very shortly that we'll get certification for both Microsoft and Zoom. We're also working with them on IntelliFrame, and we're working with them on Intelligent Director. Let's see. So yeah, you'll be able to see them in our experience centers. You'll be able to see them at Modern Work Summit. You'll be able to see them at InfoComm. definitely talk to any of your sales reps, your partners. We are going to get these cameras as many places as we can, as quickly as we can. So really excited to be finally announcing them and getting the word out to everyone.
Yep. Oh, and one last thing, I almost forgot to say for our integrator friends, these are really easy to work with. The PTC version, you can even install them upside down if you need to.
Absolutely. We see that quite often. Now, the part of the reason you see the two cameras, one on top of the other, is in an Automate VX room where the camera is doing all the tracking. If someone's talking on the same side of it, let's say one person's talking, one of the cameras zooms in on that person, but someone on the same side of the table starts talking, you don't want to see the camera physically move, right? It can get could be distracting, make the far end sick. So one camera's on the active speaker, the other camera will move while the second person speaks, and then once it's locked them in, then it switches over to the other camera. So that's typically, it's very common in an Automate VX environment to have two cameras, and that's why it's a cleaner look if we had that one inverted. So that's why we do it that way. But again, there's a real main use case as to why you see two cameras per room. Or two cameras per wall. Typically, it's not required. It just provides such a great experience by having two cameras per wall that it's a very, very common use case.
I thought you were just showing off that you could do them upside down.
20 times Zoom.
I'm sorry.
So it's that.
I just thought you were showing off that you could do them upside down. I didn't realize there's such a cool need for it.
There's a significant use case as to why there's one upside down and two per wall.
Very cool. Well, if there's anything else our viewers need to know, I'll be sure to put the links down in the description. Thanks again for being here, Sam. I have a feeling you guys are developing so soon. You're probably going to be back here pretty quickly.
Looking forward to it. Innovation engine is pretty hot here at Crestron, and so absolutely looking forward to coming back to you with the next new products that we're looking to announce soon.
Awesome. I'll see you soon then. Take care, everyone.